Hi everyone, I'm Luke from Hipshipper. In this video I'll go over our free international returns feature. I'll review the benefits, the configuration, and the workflow. And we'll do all this as I walk you through the orders interface in the Hipshipper control panel. We know what it takes to be an e-commerce retailer. Lots of challenges from the marketplace, suppliers, customers, carriers, and more. At Hipshipper we understand all this, and that's why we offer free international returns. It's a unique feature for Hipshipper customers, and it's as simple as it sounds. If your customer wants to return an item for any reason, we pay for it, no questions asked. The cost of these returns is reflected in the shipping price paid by your customers when they purchase their items. When you opt in for free returns, the base shipping rates your customers see will be a little higher than our standard shipping rates. For sellers who currently avoid international shipping, this is a perfect solution. It removes the fear of expensive returns, and when combined with our top-notch seller support, resolves all the concerns of international shipping. On the other hand, for more experienced sellers who are already comfortable with international shipping, we recommend opting out of free international returns so that you can offer your customers the lowest possible shipping rates and absorb the cost of returns internally. Now let's dive in and see how it works. So first, setup. If you haven't set up your store yet, I recommend watching that video or setup video first. Now since free returns are going to change our shipping prices, we need to go back to our plugin and make a few tweaks. So I open the plugin, go to Settings, and then Store Settings, and I toggle on the Free Returns button. Next I'll apply the rate tables, and that's it. The service is enabled. Now let's review the workflow. The returns icon is here on the left, and clicking it brings in the dashboard. Processing a free return is pretty simple and shouldn't take you more than a couple of minutes. So first, the customer initiates a return on eBay. When a customer wants to return an order, the first step is to ask them to open a return case on eBay. Once that happens, you'll see those here by clicking New. You get all the relevant data related to the return. eBay's return case ID, the date, order number, the buyer's ID, and PayPal email, the item's details, and more. You can also see the shipping price that the buyer paid when they placed the order and the refund that they'll get in order to return the item. We always refund a little bit more than the original amount in order to make sure that we cover all the buyer's expenses and keep them happy. So now that that's done, we provide the RMA to the buyer. Technically, the refund begins when you click the Send RMA button. RMA stands for Return Merchandise Authorization, and basically this is the confirmation we send to your customer and the ID by which this return will be tracked. Now we need to provide some info. First, the buyer's PayPal address. This is where Hipshipper sends the funds to cover the cost of the return. As a default, we put the PayPal address that the buyer used when they placed the order, which is required by eBay in case the customer claims didn't receive the funds. But if you need to, you can edit that address. Next, you provide a destination for the return. In other words, the address that the return item will be shipped to. You can enter it manually or upload an image or PDF with the data. Now the RMA is ready, and you can see it by clicking on this link. The buyer will get the RMA with all the product details, and all they need to do is approve the refund here. We send the customer a message via eBay messaging system and with the RMA and all the return details. You can preview that message here and click Send RMA to send it off. Now we just wait for the buyer to approve the return transaction. Once they do that, Hipshipper sends them a PayPal payment to cover the cost of return shipping. As I mentioned before, we send them a bit more than the shipping should actually cost, usually about 20% above the price that they initially paid for shipping. Now last but not least, we update the return case on eBay. Once we've sent payment to the buyer, we upload the PayPal invoice that you see here to the eBay case as proof of payment. Now the buyer has 5 days to ship the item back to you. From eBay's point of view, you performed your obligations and you're covered. And that's basically it. You can continue to track the item until it reaches the return address that you provided. And once the item is received, you process the physical return and the eBay case is closed. If the buyer doesn't send the item within 5 business days, you can call eBay and ask them to close the case in your favor without having to wait for the return to be sent or delivered. And remember, once a case is closed in your favor, the buyer can't leave negative feedback. Once the case is closed, the status in the control panel will be changed to completed. Also note that if in the course of a return you end up sending your customer a refund on their shipping yourself, meaning you pay them before we get a chance to, then we'll just go ahead and refund you those shipping costs. So don't worry about that. Hopefully I've explained how we handle free returns. As always, we're available to answer any questions. Just use the support tab here to contact us or use the live chat. Thank you, and I will see you in the next videos.